DJI controls over 70% of the global consumer drone market. But what I liked the most about DJI as a company was that one question basically shaped the growth of this company. Next, we went to BYD, which if you haven't heard, very recently overtook Tesla to become the #1 seller of electric vehicles in the world. Hi, I'm Jaidev, first year CS student at Newton School of Technology, SVSA, Bangalore. I recently spent a week in China with my NST batchmates as a part of an international immersion experience. And this is the story of the day we visited DJI and BYD in Shenzhen, the Silicon Valley of the East. Now, if you haven't heard about DJI, here's the one number that tells you everything. DJI controls over 70% of the global consumer drone market. DJI is based out of Shenzhen, a city that itself didn't exist 40 years ago. It was a small fishing village. The Chinese government decided to turn it into a technology hub. But what I liked the most about DJI as a company was the story behind it. DJI didn't start by building drones. They started by making remote control units. And at some point, the founder Frank Wong, who started this company out of his university dorm room in Hong Kong, sat down with his engineers and asked, why are we only making the controllers? Why not build the whole thing ourselves? That one question basically shaped the growth of this company. And when we walked into their HQ, we could see exactly how far that thinking had taken them. We went from exploring consumer drones to agricultural drones. And then we got to understand how their autonomous surveillance technology worked. These were drones that had their own docking station, took off by themselves on a fixed schedule, covered the whole city, collected footage and sent it directly to the police. DJI hosted international robotic competitions, and the people who performed well, they reached out to them directly. They were actively looking for the best builders in the world before anyone else had found them. I also got to fly an FPV drone. So what happened was I put on these goggles and whatever the drone could see, I was able to see. Fully first person. And the controls were completely confusing at first. This was the first time I was controlling an industry-grade drone, and it was an unbelievable feeling. Next, we went to BYD, which if you haven't heard, very recently overtook Tesla to become the #1 seller of electric vehicles in the world. And once you hear where they started, that becomes even harder to believe. BYD started as a battery company in Shenzhen in 1995, a city still being built, a company just starting out, and their entire operation at the time was just reverse engineering existing batteries and figuring out how to make them cheaper. That's it. And then their founder, Wang Chuanfu, looked at where the whole EV space was headed and thought they should build the vehicles themselves too. Everyone around him said that that was a bad idea. Nobody goes from batteries to cars. He did it anyway. A part of the building was entirely dedicated to their history. Walking through it felt like going through different chapters of 40 years of one company's life. There was another building we entered, which was home to all their latest models. And the first thing we saw when we walked in was a wall of 30,000 patents. I had heard about patent walls before, but standing in front of one of that size, it's hard for words to describe the magnitude of it. And then we got to experience the cars. One of their models was engineered to float in water. Another had sensors at the front that could detect and avoid potholes. BYD's whole story was about one thing really. They didn't ask how to make a better battery. They asked what the battery should eventually power. And then they built that too. Looking back at our visits to BYD and DJI, I'm reminded of a line from Life of Pi. If you can't be the sun that lights up the whole world, be the lamp that lights up your street. I didn't quite believe that before, but after seeing what these companies have built over the years, I'd like to add on to this quote, be the lamp that lights up your street, but light it in a way that the whole world can see.